name is Jessica. 2 Corinthians 2 verse 15 says, "For we are the fragrance of Christ among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing." And those of you who, like me, go to Christ Central Church, Penge, may remember John Wheeler sharing about if every member of the congregation told just one other person about Jesus, and they in turn told one other person about Jesus, and so on and so on, what a multitude of people there would be in heaven. So I'd like to share about a wonderful lady, Barbara. Her heart was so towards me that she stepped out of her comfort zone and knocked on my door, a stranger's door, my door. And through her faithfulness to God and her compassion for the lost, that's me again, I was lost, she shared about Jesus with me. So 40 years ago, I was someone who never went to church, maybe wedding or funeral, something like that. But I actually believed that I was a Christian and that I would go to heaven when I died. Why? Why would I think that? Well, I believed in God, and I believed that Jesus was God's son. I even prayed now and again, usually when I was in trouble. I needed help. I was christened as a baby. I sang hymns in school assemblies, and I was a nice person. Well, not too bad anyway. So Barbara started to talk to me about Jesus, so I told her I'm a Christian too. So you can imagine my surprise when she turned around and said that she'd like to make her own mind up about that. Well, I thought, what a cheek. I couldn't believe that she'd said that to me. But she showed me that although I believed that Jesus was God's son, the knowledge I had was in my head, not in my heart. I didn't know him in my heart. Barbara talked about a personal God and how he loved me with a passion, so much so that he went willingly to the cross. He died to pay for all my sins. That's all the bad things that I've ever done. I began to see Jesus as a real person and not just someone who's in a story or up in the clouds somewhere. As I thought about these things, a picture came into my mind. I was standing on one side of a deep chasm, and a rope bridge was stretched across it. I knew where I was standing was my old life, and on the other side was a new life that I could have with Jesus. But even though I was very unhappy in my old life, at least I knew where I was, and I was in some sort of control. But if I crossed over, I would be stepping into the unknown and trusting my life and my children's lives to Jesus. Well, the little that I already knew about Jesus had left me wanting to know him more. So I took that leap of faith and asked him to be Lord of my life, and it was the best thing that I have ever done. Matthew 7 verses 24 to 27 is about the wise man who built his house on the rock. And that was me that day. I built my house on the rock, and the rock is Jesus. Jesus is my rock. Now, I'm not saying that life immediately became problem-free, but whereas the storms of life would make me even more bitter, more cynical, more lonely, this time now, God used these times to make me more like him to make me more like the person that he always meant me to be. John 4 verses 7 to 42 is about the Samaritan woman at the well. Jesus spoke to the Samaritan woman at the well, and afterwards she went and told people, "Come and see a man who knew all the things I've ever done." From that city many believed in him because of the testimony of the woman, and then hearing his words for themselves, they then said to the woman, "It is no longer because of what you said that we believe, for we have heard for ourselves and know that this one is indeed the Saviour of the world." So I just would like to encourage you and say, let us all have hearts like Barbara. Be courageous, step out of our comfort zone, and say to our friends, our loved ones and our neighbours, "Come and see a man who knew all the things I've ever done." I pray this has blessed you. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or want to know more, you can email our church, info@christcentralchurch.org.uk, or you can phone 020 8676 8616.